Good morning, friends. It's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I am here. It is very early morning this morning. And I am here. I have the 10 things that I'm going to be using for Tuesday 10 today. So first is a printout from an Amity Bloom kit, I think. I'm pretty sure. This is an old piece of newspaper. And I really like this old ad on it. It's like I guess it's a skirt, like this, you know, when women are trying to hold it all together with all these complex things, like, I don't know. But it's better than the ad on the back, which is for a refrigerator. And then we have this fun bunny, also from an old newspaper. And on back we have some people who are, I guess, hanging from something, I don't know. And then we have this old Heinz tomato ketchup ad. This is so cool, and I'm like, I have to do something with it. It's really cute. Then I have a couple of book pages here from the same book. This one is really cute. It has this little girl and this sparrow, and it has this on the back. And I'm a little torn about what to use, because of course she's spinning, and that's awesome. And then we have these frogs, the little Thumbelina baby in a walnut shell. And on back we have Thumbelina with some bugs. This is another book page of these kind of old troll kind of people. They're like little fairies, actually. And I believe this is Wendy Froud. This is Wendy Froud's photography illustration. And this is like a green man in a mountain. Then I have just a scrap of green dyed paper and a cover from a baby's picture album, and I just love those vintage birds around the outside. And then I have some jelly printed music paper from an old book. Okay, so let's get into it. What do we want to do today? I think I want to start with the ketchup ad and this, because I'm really inspired by the ketchup ad. It's really fun. So let me grab this and put it here. Now it's really tall. Yesterday I made some envelopes out of like book pages, and I'm thinking, how tall is that ketchup bottle? I kind of really want the legs. Like I want the whole thing in whatever I make here. So it's too long to use on those. I'm thinking like either on a piece of stationery that I can fold in half, or like a long journal card that would either go in a lap book or also get folded in half. So I think I will do something like that. I need a tall piece of paper, which I have over here in this old book, and I think it'll fit. It'll just fit on there. So I'm thinking like let's tear a couple of these out. And plunk them there. Okay. I'm going to cut out this ketchup bottle, and I will be right back. I'm actually going to cut that out and this so that we have all these things. Okay, so these are all cut out. I just took a few minutes to do that, and watch a little bit of a Catherine Brown Clark video, which is always a nice way to start my morning. She's talking about how lovely the fall weather is, and she's not wrong at all about that. I'm feeling exactly the same, very cozy and good. Okay. I could do without a bit of the rain though, definitely. Alright, so I'm just going to fold these two pieces of paper into the general size that I want this piece of ephemera to be. Now I know this ketchup bottle is probably ever so slightly too tall, and he is. So what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to overlap them a little so that we can have them both here. Yeah, we're just going to add a little bit of girth to the top and bottom of this. So not going to matter one bit. So then I will just take some glue. I'm going to use my Oogie glue, this squishy glue that I've got. This is an old glue bottle that I want to use up. So see, it's quite smooshy. In fact, I should be gluing on a surface so I don't get my desk all covered. Let me grab another piece of this paper. There we go. Although this glue does wipe up quite easily, so it's not too big of a problem. So first we'll glue that down. Then I think I need to glue to about almost the last bit of the last line of text. And I'm feeling a little sleepy this morning. It's dark in the mornings now, and I tend to be someone who's really, really impacted by like the light. I get a bit of seasonal affective disorder, so I do have like a light that I keep in my studio here. It's actually on. It's part of my filming setup now because it actually works well. Yeah, so that's the one thing that I don't like, other than just when it's super, super cold and you feel like you've been stuck in the house, you know, and you've got to get up and go and, you know, get on with it. About winter, but fall I love. Spring and fall, if I could have them all the time, I think like a lot of us, I would be a happy kid. Okay. So yeah, I'm happy to be back from vacation. I definitely had a great time. Really nice. I'm also always happy to come back to my home though. I have all my creature comforts here, and I really like being home. Wish I could pick up my house and take it to different locations, but I can't. But I definitely like to be in my home. Yeah, we stayed in Quebec. We stay in an area in Quebec that's not too terribly far from, I guess the closest place that people would recognize maybe is Mont Tremblant, which we do go to often. We really like going up to Mont Tremblant, not for the skiing, but just for the general lovely feel of the, you know, cobble roads, and you know, you can have your, whoopsie, I knew that was going to happen. You can have your maple snow on ice, or sorry, your maple taffy on snow, rather, which my kids absolutely loved. And the gentleman who works that stand in the Mont Tremblant village is so nice, and he really just loves what he does, and that's pretty great. All right, let's repair these legs here. Did I want to stick them down again? Am I doing this right? Yes, okay. All right, now I'm just going to sort of gentle stick this down. I'm not going to stick it hard because I might want to put some stuff in behind it, which I just kind of realized as I got chatting. Okay, so I'm thinking I do want to put this doily in behind it. And I'm going to take a break from this glue because it's just really yucky. It still works beautifully. It's just it's an older version of this glue that I use, and I think they made a formulation change a year or two back to make it more solid, because it was like it got to a certain age and then it would say, okay, I'm really sticky and oogie now. So okay, let's plunk that down. Yeah, so it's nice to go to Mont Tremblant because you can ride the gondola up the mountain. There's a Scandinavian spa. You know, you can also just go there and not have to spend any money too. You can just walk around and have a wonderful time and not feel pressured. And it's one of those places that isn't just exclusively accessible to people who are there to spend a lot of money. And that's something that I very much appreciate, because I'm finding a lot of spaces that I love are becoming too exclusive. In Ontario, I've been finding a lot of issues with like waterfront access. People who are able to buy like expensive waterfront homes, you know, in these very you know, pricier regions of like the greater Toronto area where I live. You know, to buy waterfront is very expensive here. Not everyone can do it, obviously. I mean, buying a house at all these days is pretty challenging for most people. But what they're doing is like they're literally closing the roads off, sort of, or saying there's no parking at all, so you can't go to any of the parks. And also people are obsessed with putting up these signs that say like slow road, like drive slowly. Meanwhile, like, there's like probably 4 speed bumps on a tiny little road, and a sign, and one of those blinking speed things, and like there's literally just a dead end. Like, nobody would race their car down this road. It's the biggest overreaction of like wealthy people ever, and it just really gets on my nerves, to be completely honest. And you would not be here if you weren't getting a rant from me, so you know. But yeah, I believe in equality, and I believe in equal access to our waterfronts, and not allowing people with more money than most of us to be able to buy up all of the land and block us from our taxpayer-funded parks. And I get very frustrated about those things. Yeah. So anyways, back to vacations. So yeah, I had a great time. I did so much eco printing and so much hanging out with the kiddos, and that was really nice. It was a great little break. I really loved every morning I would get to listen to these little sassy squirrels. We have these very sassy squirrels there, and they're these tiny little brown squirrels, and they just chatter at you. Like, they will sit in the trees. There's a lot of hemlock or spruce trees around the cottage, and they will sit up there and they will just like, they will just chatter at you, and they're very funny. And then there is about 5 or 6 crows that also come by each day, and they, you know, do their squawking in the morning. And you know, it's funny, like, you'd think something was annoying, but you really appreciate it. Like, it's just a really nice connection to have with nature. And then there's about 30 loons that stop by about 4 times a day looking for little bluegill fish to eat, and they're a lot of fun to see. And so yeah, it's a lot of nice wildlife kind of interaction. And then we have there's a little playground not too far from the cottage. It's actually within pretty much walking distance, and the playground is great, and it's right next to a library, and they have a little free library outside, and there's a little city building there, and behind it we have what we call our gnome forest. It's a lovely little forest that every possible variety of mushroom in this region grows in, and it's really nice to go there and just photograph mushrooms. And so I did a lot of mycology photography. We did a lot of foraging. We got lots of chanterelles, enough for a few meals, and it was nice. And my daughter had a great time, especially because she's really into foraging now. She was so happy when she found her first chanterelle. She's like, I found my first edible mushrooms, and that was really nice. My son was loving the playground. He's he really loves to swing. That's his big thing right now, swinging. Okay. So now we'll just trim the bottom edge off here. Hopefully we don't tear into this. We'll see. No, it's good. There we go. So I think what I will do is I'll let this dry, and then after I'm going to back it and probably ink around the edge with some black. I really love how this turned out. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so let's pull these out here. Let's see what we have left. Okay. I feel like I want to, oops, that's something else. We gotta get that out of here. That doesn't go with this. All right, I feel like I really want to use up that green background. So let's go with these two. Tuesday 10's always a little easier when I can use a couple of things at least together. Okay, so I think what I'll do is maybe tear around these frogs. So yeah, I did do a bit of thrifting. We went into Ottawa. They have like a really great thrift store in Ottawa. It's actually a St. Vincent de Paul, which is like 2 floors. It used to be like St. Vincent de Paul was a kind of a grubby thrift store. Like, I mean, it was very what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Like, basically, they were always inside, like, these kind of rundown warehouse feeling kind of buildings. And you were like, okay, what is this place? And it felt very sketchy, and it had a lot of, like, mostly garbage in it. But, like, they've really improved over the many years that I've been thrifting. And, like, this one in Ottawa is just awesome. It's, like, 2 floors, and all downstairs is all books and media and linens, and a few other things. I didn't find a lot there, but I did find a little bit, and it was nice. But it's hard to find any thrifty kind of stores because where we are is very, very rural. Very rural Quebec. You don't find a lot of, like, English books where we are. You find mostly French. But, I mean, they have a little bit, but it all depends on, like, what your taste is. If you're looking for French books, then that is probably a good spot. In Ottawa, you'll find English. In Quebec, you really won't. A whole lot. A little bit. So yeah, we had fun thrifting. I think my favorite thrift store was this Little Samaritans one that we found outside of Mont Tremblant. We've driven past it so many times and we didn't even realize that it was a thrift store because it doesn't really look like one, to be honest. But then I found it and I was really happy to go in because, first of all, the prices were very inexpensive, and they had a lot of decent stuff and the people were very nice. Thinking about just maybe putting like a border of this green around here. It wasn't big enough to do on just the torn piece of paper, so gotta get a little creative here. Do this, and then this, I think, and then we'll do it on top, and then I'll go around and trim the whole thing, and I'll have that nice green border on that journal card. Right, let's glue these down. Yeah, we did a lot of grocery shopping. I always forget like how much grocery shopping it takes to like feed a family of 4, and you're like away from your house, so you don't have all your basics like things like flour, mustard. This place that we stay in, like some places are more equipped than others with like you know, things like barbecue sauce or like, you know, the stuff that you know people are going to use at a cottage. This place is equipped with all the kind of stuff, like they have a lot of kitchen stuff, possibly too much, but they don't have a lot, they don't provide a lot of like basics, and so I had to grocery shop a couple times. Food is a little more pricey in Quebec too. I've noticed that for sure. The quality is much higher though, and gas is also a little more expensive because the gas tax is higher in Quebec than in Ontario. So just a few things to consider if you're staying in Quebec. Got to go kayaking, and that was nice. It's always wonderful in the morning to just sit on the deck and have some coffee and listen to the loons calling away, and just sit under the pines in the wind, and then rode in the kayak. Really love kayaking. I think kayaking is my favorite kind of boating. I like it much more than I like canoeing because it's a lot more secure. Like you're not as likely to tip in a kayak as you are in a canoe. I haven't mastered stand-up kayaking yet. I feel very like, I don't know. I don't think I just don't understand it well, maybe yet. I have things to learn about stand-up kayaking because it's just feels very wiggly to me, and I don't really like that feeling. I think I glued these a little too close. Well, that one might be okay. We'll just put this one out a little more. Let me see. I mean, I could shear this down a little too if I wanted. Yeah, I went a little too narrow on this side, I think. So let's just trim this again on this side. There we go. The other thing that will surprise you about staying in Quebec is like how fast people drive on the rural roads. It's like you think you're on the Autobahn or something, and people are very like crazy impatient, like just about the speed. Like you'll be in a 70 zone. Everyone is doing 110, and you will have no less than, like, if you're doing the 110 behind the person in front of you who's doing the 110, trying to, like, you know, stay with the traffic, like I think most people do. You try to stay comfortably within the traffic, you know, so you have a flow of cars all moving at the same speed, and you don't have a big lineup behind you. Because if you do 70, you will have just a lineup of cars right at your back, like, you know, kind of impatiently behind you, wondering what is wrong with you, and they will all pass you. But even if you're doing like 110 in the 70 zone out there, you have at least 2, 3, 4 people. They'll keep coming and they want to do like 130, and they just fly past you. Many of them will pass you in a no passing zone, and many of them will pass recklessly, like on hills, like, you know, where you don't even see if something is coming. I don't know how many times, every single time I've ever gone to Quebec, and I've been going for over 10 years now to go to the Twist Festival in Saint-Andre-Avelin. It's a big fiber art festival that my girlfriend runs. As long as I've been going there, that has been the behavior. Like, it's out rural roads, you know, and I get it, but like, I think the accidents there must just be devastating. Like, devastating because of the speed. I don't even want to know. Ugh, so scary and sad. But hopefully people keep being lucky, because I always hate to hear when there's such a gruesome accident like that. Okay, let's just get this gal ripped out here. Go. We had a lot of fun. We had campfire and marshmallows. We made s'mores, which is like my daughter's very favorite thing to do when on vacation. I think I'm going to make an envelope with this, with a book page. So the way that I've been making envelopes lately is pretty simplistic. So I just take like the bottom here, and I'm going to flip it on up. This up top will be your envelope flap. So down here, this will be the back of your envelope. Then we're going to fold a little triangle here on this corner, and a little triangle here on this corner. Then you can just cut those right off on the line that you made. Then on this side, or the inside rather, you just take a bead of glue This is also an opportunity if you want to cut like a lip here, you can. I'm not going to bother. I don't feel like I need it. Okay, so now you've got your pouch, your envelope pouch here. And then we flip this down. And there's our envelope. Now I think I made it ever so slightly too small for this, as I typically do, because I'm silly like that and I don't measure. So let's see if there's something else I can put on this envelope. From tuesdayten, possibly this. I'm feeling like I just want like just this green man. I don't want the little people down below. So I think I'm gonna just do that. My ruler, and then I'll come back to making something with the other piece. Is there anything on here? No. Okay. Yeah, so we also went to Park Omega, which is a wildlife park. It's kind of like a hybrid of like a safari park and a farm, like a wildlife kind of farm, but also keeping the animals wild. So if you've been around for a while, you probably know that I'm not a big animal domestication kind of person when it comes to wild animals. I don't really enjoy things like zoos and petting zoos that keep animals that are outside of their region. It's just not my thing. I feel like it's very impactful to animals and their lives, and I don't like it. So that being said, though, Park Omega is a bit different in that it is situated on just, I don't even know how many hundreds of acres of forest, beautiful conifer and boreal kind of forests. And so the animals live there naturally, and they basically, they do things to attract the animals to hang around, and obviously as a result of that, they have to possess them. They're not fully wild, but they're mostly wild. They also take on animals that are hurt and wouldn't be able to live a normal life in, outside of captivity. Like they have 2 mooses there. One was, its mother was killed when it was a baby, and they raised it up, and so it would never be able to go into the wild and live alone. It doesn't have all the skills that it needs as a moose to be able to do that. So they took him on, and they got him a friend who's this big white turkey that lived with him. Now he has another friend, another moose that had a similar situation. So the 2 of them, it's a male and a female, they live there, and the turkey, yeah, I said turkey, right? It's a turkey that still lives with them. It's really funny. And they're the only animal that's like inside a gated area, but it's like still a forest inside, like a big forest, so you don't always see them. It's so big. They have a herd of bison. They have loads of elk, mule deer, wapiti, lots of white-tailed deer. What else do they have? They have Oh, they have bears. They have black bears and cinnamon bears. They have wolves, a pack of wolves. They actually have like I think they call it like the wolf den, and it's this like cabin that's been built in the middle of the wolf like territory, and it's like basically you can stay there. It's very expensive. I think it's about $500 or $600 every night to stay there, and you can stay among the wolves in the wolf den. So like imagine you're in this like cabin, and there's these big like windows, like glass windows. There's even like a glass bubble kind of thing where you pop up and you can look at the wolves, and they're right there at the window. It's actually quite fascinating. It's a little more I'd say impactful to the wolves than I would like. Like it isn't really my thing, but I understand. They're not being like fully domesticated, and they're not being fully wild. So it's like I get it. It's sort of a hybrid situation. That is pretty good for education and stuff. But I have to admit that the condo part of it is kind of feels a little bit like I don't know what the word is, but privileged maybe. It's like a little bit like, I don't know, it's the pumpkin spice latte of lodgings to me. It's a little privileged. Not necessarily my thing, but it can be somebody's, I guess. So yeah, they have loads of animals. They also have some really beautiful like what are they called, those little, they have Arctic foxes. Silver fox, that's what I was trying to think of. I've never seen a silver fox before having gone there. They don't have lynx, which is good because they're an endangered species, but they're also, I would love to see a lynx in real life one day. I think I've seen, when I was a kid, I believe I saw one at a zoo when I used to go to zoos when I was a kid. But I'd love to see one in the wild one day. From afar, of course. I was so happy because when we stayed on our last vacation, well, not our last vacation, this was last year, but it's another place that we stay, in Ontario, we actually saw a baby little bear cub run across the road in front of our car, and at a distance, and we weren't going fast. And so, I was like, okay, so the baby ran by. Maybe we should slow down a little bit in case Mama comes running by. But I think Mama had already ran by, and the baby was just kind of playing around and bounding behind her. But, you obviously don't want to be close to that, but you also wouldn't want to hit her, right? So, yeah, we were being very careful there. But she was, that little cub was so cute. And I didn't even get any kind of a picture or video. It was just like a magic moment that my husband and I had, like, you know, that was a once in a lifetime kind of thing, to have a little baby bear cub just go bounding past your car, unless you live in an area that's like, you know, has a lot of black bears. But when I was a kid, we used to go camping on this island. Like, you had to take a boat to get to it. And my parents, they used to kind of camp most of the year round. They're pretty hardy people when it came to camping. And in the summertime, I used to just swim like a fish. I would be out there all day. I just love swimming. I still do. And we would see black bears swimming from island to island, just kind of looking for food and stuff. And they were really, like, not concerned with you and what you were doing. They weren't really paying much attention, and they would just go on their happy way. And pretty fascinating to watch. They're really good swimmers. Go. And I did do a bit of creative stuff. I was happy to bring you a few videos while I was out there. That was nice. And filming from my iPad is pretty great. I have to say, I'm happy about that. Thinking about, like, if I want to start filming more often from my iPad, even at home, because I think the camera quality is slightly better than my GoPro that I use each day. And I just got a cable to connect the two of them, so I'm gonna try to glue that down a little underneath that. I had to use this little spinning Thumbelina here. It's so cute. Also, September, was it the 18th? The Saturday of the week of the 18th anyways, was Worldwide Spin in Public Day, which is a worldwide event that I actually founded based on the earlier founded Worldwide Knit in Public Day. When I was kind of at the peak of my spinning days, I wanted to have something that was similar to, like, Worldwide Knit in Public Day, so I created Worldwide Spin in Public Day, and I'm a little less plugged into it as I once was, but I do still do the basics to organize it. It's always the third Saturday of September, and the objective is to get out into the public and do some yarn spinning, and if possible some education, or just some hanging out with friends, but like just making the art more visible. And I'll tell you, it took off so much. I mean, in its first year it took off. There were hundreds of events worldwide. I think almost the entire globe was covered, except for maybe everywhere in Africa that's not South Africa, but we had a South African event, and it has continued on. Like, and the nice thing is I get images and videos. There's a Facebook group called Worldwide Spin in Public Day that you can join if you're interested in seeing. There's also an Instagram, but I don't update the Instagram as much as I should probably. I'm probably going to do a bulk of the photos that were uploaded to Facebook and put them on Instagram. It started on Ravelry.com, which is where I used to be most active with my fiber art stuff, and then I just kind of moved it along when everyone sort of started just using, you know, social media platforms. So it's there now, and it's mostly, I'd say, most active on Facebook. But what happens is, around the world, people plan their own events. I kind of have given them some guidelines on how to get started, and then that's what they do. They make a poster, they advertise, you know, that they're going to be getting together to spin, and it's really great. Like, everyone has a really great time. So it used to be on the same day as, like, International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and so that was always funny because we would get a lot of cross traffic of people doing, like, spinning / International Talk Like a Pirate Day, and that was really fun. It was always nice to see, like, places where wool spinning is very, you know, ingrained in tradition, like places like Ireland and Scotland and Wales, you know, where you just see these incredibly gorgeous type landscapes, you know, very green, and all of these lovely women and their beautiful spinning wheels sitting outside and spinning. It's a very, like, I don't know, it's just a very nice feeling to organize that. So that's what I do. Okay, I'm just going to trim the sides of this here. Yeah, so it was also my father's 65th birthday. So what I didn't talk about was the calamity that we had during vacation. This year, I've got to say, my vacations have felt a little bit like the Griswold vacation. Mostly like, I don't know, it's been so strange. Weird things have happened, and I'm like trying to just have perspective about it and not be grouchy about it. But we had like a rock come flying up under the bottom of our car and damage our intermediate pipe on our exhaust. The muffler and catalytic converter are fine, but we had to do some Frankenstein work to keep the intermediate pipe on the bottom of the car connected. Not to mention that we were in an area that is like bumpy outside of a nature reserve, and yeah, we had to use some bungee cord, and always keep emergency things in your car if you're going places, because let me tell you, you will need them. And so we got that sorted out. My father's a mechanic, so I called him to talk to him about, like, is the car drivable or not? What should I do? I'm in the middle of nowhere. The closest, like, mechanic is about 40 minutes away that specializes in this kind of thing. And of course, with the shortage of parts and things right now, the shortage of everything in this weird, like, global phenomenon, how long is it going to take to fix this? So my dad said, okay, well, I better come up. I better come up and see what's going on. I can't diagnose this from afar, even with pictures. So I said, okay. So then it actually, like, I felt really bad because it was my dad's 65th birthday. And the day before, I had this idea, like, hey, we should invite my parents to come up here with us, and we'll take my father to Park Omega for his birthday because, you know, he loves a couple of things. One is wildlife and nature, and the other is his grandchildren, right? So that's just not going to work as an envelope, I don't think. It's too, this book page is too little. Let me see if I have something else. Maybe this black folder. Let me see here. Yeah, so I thought, you know, that would be really nice to have him come up. He would enjoy the time with the kids. And then, of course, then I needed him because I often need my dad to solve life's issues because I'm still, you know, a baby apparently. No, but, like, you know something, it's really great to have someone in your life who is a mechanic. And my dad is basically an engineer of all things. He can fix everything. He does woodwork, metalwork, electrical, plumbing, you name it, my dad does it, and he does it well. And there's a real nice, it's a real nice thing to have in your life, let me tell you. I'm just going to play with this folder and see what I can make with it here. Kind of a Frankenstein we can do. Okay. So he came up, and, like, as soon as they arrived on a 4-hour, like, drive up to us, he got started, like, immediately. Like, as soon as he got there, he's, like, under the car. I'm like, okay, Dad, you can, you know, say hello. You don't have to, like, get started immediately. But he was like, oh, let's get this looked at. I'm like, okay. So he got looking at it, and he said, okay, so good news is, like, you're not going to need a whole new, like, muffler and assembly and all that. You're just going to need a new pipe. But he basically took his, like, sawzall, is that the word for it? I think, and he cut off the damaged pipe. It got smooshed and damaged, and so that got taken off. Then he replaced it with, like, some flex pipe and some hose clamps to make it, like, you know, be very secure. And, like, your exhaust system is dampened by these usually rubber type damper things that make it not loud. When the exhaust is coming through the pipe, it's coming through at a pretty high velocity, and that would be very loud if you didn't have any dampening on it. You know, like, you hear those cars that have their mufflers modified to be really annoying, or you hear cars that have had their, like, catalytic converter cut out, because thieves will often do that for the precious metals inside. It's kind of like the copper pipe sort of theft. Like people do that because there's value in those things. So, you know, your car would be very loud without that muffling and the dampeners. They prevent like the rattling that can occur. So he did his best to kind of like make it all quiet. It was safe to drive, which was the good thing, because we wanted to get it back home. We didn't want to get like it serviced, you know, off. I did that a little crooked, but that's okay. I like the asymmetricalness. That's very much my personality. We didn't want to have to get it serviced there. So, you know, because it's just easier to do it at your home mechanic. And we actually already have some work scheduled, regular maintenance work, and also to have the back panel of our car. Our car's an electric car too, so it's a little more complex. Like you can't weld on those. You've got to be a little more knowledgeable as a mechanic. So we wanted to get it all done at once at home because we were rear-ended a while back and we've been waiting on the new back panel, like just the kind of the like the hatchback part that you would open on an SUV. It's got just a dent in it, but it's kind of like a weird dent, so like the whole thing has to get replaced. So we've been waiting on the parts for that to come so that the mechanic can fix it. So, you know, we're just gonna, my husband got in touch with the insurance company and everything yesterday to get that all sorted out. So yeah, that was happy to just get that dealt with. Not happy that it happened, but you've got to be really careful with trucks on the road. Okay, this, I want to get some paint. Just give me one sec. Okay, because trucks on the road, they definitely, like, a lot of times they travel a little unsafely, and you're not always really aware of that. But these trucks that carry things like aggregate and gravel and, you know, whatever, it can really come flying out at you. And so it's always good to stay a good distance away from them. I'm always telling my husband, like, just pull back from this, please. I don't like it. I don't feel good about it. It gives me anxiety driving near these mid-sized trucks, because they're not like, you know, things like that can't be regulated on a daily basis. So, you know, as safe as these companies try to be, there's always room for human error. And I also think some of them just don't really care. They don't like, I mean, it's not that they want to hurt people, but they don't do a whole lot to make sure that doesn't happen. And I have a friend who was in a horrific accident many, many years ago, where she was basically, I believe it was a dump truck or a cement truck, I can't recall, hit their car. And, you know, she lost some friends in that accident, and also she was terribly hurt, including being burned on about 90% of her body very seriously, like 3rd-degree burns, having glass shrapnel all throughout her body that she still deals with. She was so lucky to survive. She almost didn't. And she lost 3 friends, and she was rescued by these incredible, heroic men who pulled her from the car. Unfortunately, she had to have 2 amputations, 1 arm and 1 leg above the knee. So it's something that I don't take lightly, that's for sure. So by movie magic, this is almost dry and my paintbrush is clean. My husband came and brought me some breakfast, so I just had some breakfast. So now I want to put these buttons over these 2 little kind of angel characters. They're not really my sort of a theme, so I'm just going to take these little buttons here, because I don't want this to look like it came out of a baby book. I want it to be just a fun little nature-y kind of thing that will almost feel a little like Cinderella. Yeah, 1 there. He also informed me he's making some hot sauce, because we picked a ton of habanero peppers, because we grow them each year. We grow a few varieties of hot pepper and we make hot sauce. So that's what he's doing right now. I've got to tackle my garden this week. We've got a lot of apples I need to pick that have gotten so big and red and beautiful. So I've got to pick those. I'll probably try to do that today. I have to bring the ladder outside because my apple tree's gotten so big. And yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, okay, so 2 of those there, and then 2 on the other side as well, in a slightly different arrangement, I think. I have lots of squash growing. I picked some gourds yesterday to put on my front porch, just to kind of make things a little more seasonal here. Okay, so 1 there. And 1 overlapping the paint a little there. Whoopsies. Paint's not quite dry. Clean that up a little bit here. Just take some little scrap of paper and blot that. Bring it back up. There we go. I also have some more grapes I need to pick off the grapevine. The last of the lovely tomatoes, and see if I have any green ones left over that I can make fried green tomatoes with. And what else? I've got to deal with all the weeds, obviously. Never the fun part of gardening. That end of the season kind of weeding that needs to get done. And then bagging up all of the plant refuse. Okay, so that's just got to dry up. The back is fine as is, and that'll be like a really fun little, either like a pocket, a big pocket for a lap book, or like a journal card or something. It's really cute. So that needs to dry. All we have left now is this, I think. Yeah, that went really quickly. And this is actually perfect for this. Yay. So let's just trim it down a bit. Now I notice it is a little uneven, which is okay. Because I still have some collage-y bits here that I could use, like that could kind of go there. And I've got this, which I could put on the flap or on the back of it. Yeah, maybe I'll put that on the back because it's really pretty. So let's glue this one on. Okay, yep. I think we're going to go out today and take a nice walk. I want to collect some smoke bush leaves before they're gone so that I can, I'm going to print an entire king size duvet cover with smoke bush for my bed and the pillowcases. I've been trying to decide what plant I wanted to use to do that, and I think I have finally just settled on smoke bush. I think it will be very nice. I really love how it prints. I was kind of torn between that and birch. Like, I like the dark monochromatic feel of sumac, but I didn't want it to be the shape of the leaf. I wasn't really settled on a whole lot. I didn't want that jagged kind of leaf shape. Put that there. Then on the back of the envelope, we'll put this flower, this French flower label. Okay. No, I don't do that. Okay. So now we have a cute little envelope that will sit upright like this, that I can either, I mean, I could glue this part down and have it be like a flip open. That would be cute. Or I could just use it as an envelope. So this one doesn't need any stitching. I might put a little word snippet just because it's hanging out on my desk here. The Land of Flowers. Let's just put that there. That'll make it a little cuter. Okay, so that one's done. That's the envelope. Now let's see what we need to stitch. This needs to dry a little more, so we'll just let that sit over here to dry. This doesn't need stitching, I don't think. I'm pretty happy with it as is. I just want to keep it as an envelope. We'll stitch, find something to put on top of that. This I do want to stitch. I maybe even want to embellish it a little bit with something. This I want to stitch, and this I want to stitch in ink. So I'm going to go do my stitching and I will be right back. Okay, everything has been stitched now and we are good to go. So this one didn't need any stitching. I just need for it to dry up and it will be completely done. So we have 1, 2 is this tag. I added some just leftover seam binding up top and stitched it. So there's 2. 3 is the Green Man envelope. I added a little bit of just green lace over here, and then I added washi tape on the flap and stitched all around it. So there's 3. Number 4 is our frog journal card here, stitched around. Number 5 is this Thumbelina journal card. Number 6 is our envelope. Number 7, another envelope. And number 8, our final ketchup bottle. So I made it so that it can be folded. So I imagine that like it will be a little big for the majority of the journals, but I really love that collage. What a great classic image that is. I'm so happy that I had it in, it was actually in an old scrapbook, like a 1920s scrapbook. So it's probably from a paper around the 1920s or earlier. So that is my day for today with Tuesday 10, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're having a great day and you were crafting along with me, making some lovely art, and I will talk to you all again very soon, and looking forward to just kind of jumping back into life and studio mode this week. So thank you again. Bye for now.